I'm Janice Edwards. Coming up on Bay Area Vista, we are celebrating Tabia African American Ensemble Theater, 35 years and an amazing exhibit at the Dr. Martin Luther King Library in San Jose. That's next. Join us.
Janice Edwards, it's showtime. It's time to shine. Janice Edwards, it's showtime. It's time to shine.
Welcome to Bay Area Vista. I'm Janice Edwards, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to a very extraordinary celebration during African American Black History Month. We're talking with Viera Whye, award-winning artistic director of Tabia African American Ensemble Theater, a Black legend of Silicon Valley, and someone with whom I once shared the stage so many years ago at the Dr. Martin Luther King Papers Project. Viera, nice to have you here.
Thank you, Janice. It's so good to be with you again. We've done this a few times over the years, but it's been a few years since.
Exactly.
Yes, so
congratulations.
thank you very much. Dr. Cheers had this idea a few months ago and worked with us to put it together. He drove me to put it together. There were times it's like, I'm too tired to do this, but I am so pleased and excited. So maybe tonight I'll be able to actually bask in the whole celebration of it as I talk to you. But yeah,
yes, and we want to mention that the exhibit is here at the library through the end of February. Yes. How does it feel to look around and see just all of the photos from different productions?
It's pretty amazing. And just that I had much of the stuff that I still have. My son has been helping me purge, so it came as a good time, because as we went through pictures and photos, I was able to relive those moments and say, hey, that can go to Dr. Cheers, and that can go to Dr. Cheers. So luckily he was there. Yes, Dr. Cheers was worked with Catherine, who's a curator of this, to put it all together and tell our story. And he kept saying, Viera, this is amazing. And when you're in it, you take things for granted a lot and don't realize the importance of it, the meaning of it. And then going through that and putting this together, it was really a lot of wow moments. And all of the people, I mean, hundreds of people have really come through Tabia. And then those pictures, to see those pictures, I've been wondering, where are they, and where is he, and where is she? And some of them have gone on to do performance art, have great careers. Yes. So I'm happy about that. But it's the meaning behind a lot of what we do. So we're not a musical theater type. So to really do what we do, provocative, meaningful, to share our history and celebrate that without doing musicals, because that's what really people typically support. Right. And so to take that risk and to be able to do it for 35 years on our own terms is something I'm really proud of. To really, to do shows on HIV/AIDS, to tell, flying west, of coming west, the story of people traveling west. So to take those, to shake the mess out of memories. So all of our aunties and those lessons they gave us, so to take those that we can relate to. Most of them are funny and most of them have music, but they're really about telling our powerful stories from our perspective. And so it's been a journey, of course.
Don't you know that home is where the heart lies, across the ocean into the African sky, through the hills and valleys, over the mountains, Africa is where my heart lies. What is this? It's for Mama. Yeah, I knew it wasn't for me. And you can ride to your behind this time. Mama, I don't believe you did this. What? Buying her a wheelchair, that's what. I didn't buy it, I rented it. Nicks and scrapes all over my freshman year. Oh, shit! Wait! No! Give this bean some flavor.
Sometimes a wonderful one and sometimes not so wonderful because of the lack of resources mostly. So it comes down to money. Many times what we're able to do or not do. Another thing I'm very proud of is that we always are able to afford what we do. We don't do as much as I'd like, but what we do well, and we're able to do it without having to worry about not being able to pay the bills. So
Right.
it's something
And
I'm very
that's
proud
so
of, and not all
important.
theater groups can say that.
Not at all. I mean,
Yeah.
starving artists is
That's
a
right.
reality
That's
all
right.
too many times. Let's go back to the beginning, though. How did the idea of Tabia, and explain what the name means, how did it all come about?
So we did grow out of the Black Theater Workshop right here at San Jose State. David Piper, I moved here in 1979, and I think they had just started the Black Theater Workshop around that time. They were doing the play for Colored Girls of Considered Suicide. David was running it, so there were a group of us, and that probably around 82 kind of slowed down, and that group went defunct. So there were 6 of us. And myself, Adaku, Arlene, Robert, and Rudy, that were actors and said we wanted to continue acting and performing. So we formed Tabia, which means in Swahili, talented. So
And
we
you
said,
truly are.
yes, and so we wanted to do that. And to be able to do that, we had to form a company. I graduated from Towson University. I'm from Baltimore with a degree in theater and sociology in '79. So because I had a degree in theater, I was elected to be the artistic director. So in 1985, we put it together and have been doing it ever since. In the most recent years, don't get a chance to act much. So I do more of the administrative, the directing, the producing. But out of that group, I mean, you can see pictures here where we went into schools and we performed, and we've had many people come and join us and stay for a while, and many have left. So there's a core group of about 10 of us, mostly women. And people think we're a women's only group, but we're not.
Yeah.
But men
have a
come
lot
and
of
go more.
productions, right?
They're more fluid in and out. So, I mean, there's just so much I can't believe when I look at it all that it's been 35 years. At 20 years, I said, okay, we've reached the 20-year mark. I'm going to retire. 25 years came, 30 years came, and now it's 35 years. So.
And now you're not saying you're going to retire, are you?
Well, I don't know, I was going to say in the back of my mind, it might be in the forefront. But as long, it's a struggle. It's a challenge, and mostly around the lack of resources, the funding, the people, and a lot of the younger people because of the internet, and they're able to put their videos out. They don't do theater, stage as much, and the discipline around it and the work around it. So I'm looking for people, succession plan. Younger folks to come in and work with us and really stay, but it's a struggle, and not everyone's willing to put in the time.
And it's tough too, like you said, because of the time that it takes when you're studying a character, getting ready to perform, and there's an amazing gratification as well as satisfaction from that work, but the instantaneous turning around now, people are on their iPhone, they do a video,
That's
they feel
right.
like that's all you have to do, and the art
Yeah.
is somewhat lost. So it's wonderful to know that you're looking for young people who can continue to be
Right. And we've been really good about growing people, developing people, taking folks that have had no theater training and giving them opportunities to be in plays, and through the process of rehearsal, really teaching them. So I'm also very proud of that. I'm giving people that opportunity. I work in high tech, as you know, and people say, well, how do you do both? But really, there are synergies there.
Well, how do you do both, though? Because
There are synergies there, so it's not a totally different world. I mean, especially in the administrative piece of what I'm doing, it's project management. It's managing people, time, and money, right? When you're doing a production, putting on a play, that's what you're doing, right? You're getting the cast, you're doing the marketing, that piece of it, you're managing the budget, you're managing the time, right? The rehearsal. So there's a lot, you can take those same skills and use them. And then also, as you know, learning to speak. You know, articulation, communication is everything, no matter what you're in. So you can come into theater and take those skills and go out into the business world in any aspect. So I'm proud of, you know, setting that platform, creating that so young people can use those skills even if they don't get into theater and performance, that they can use those in business in whatever aspect.
Well, how did you get into high tech, and what do you do in high tech for people who don't know?
Yeah, so I've also been in high tech since I've been here. When I first came here, I was going to go back to grad school in theater, but I started working for a little company that did telephony, and a company that was called Rome back then, so telecommunications, and it grew as well. Everybody had their phone system, so I learned it at the tech business all on the job, but I still, with this theater group, was able to do my theater, and it definitely is my passion and my love. Right now, I actually am tying them together because I'm a diversity and inclusion HR partner. So really having opportunities, making sure diverse folks get jobs, that they're advanced in leadership. So, but that using the theater, what I do with Tabia, also as a means for that. So bringing that into the community, the high tech into the community, and taking the community and tech. I actually directed a play at Intel when I first joined. Almost 5 years I've been there, about the first woman engineer. So I directed and used people from Intel, and someone knew my background and said, hey, I want to do this project. It was amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Ada Byron Lovelace, the whole thing. We came and got costumes from San Jose State, period costumes. So really mixing the two, able to do them, and I don't see them as divergent as they seem. Sometimes my brain is going crazy, but I really try to tie it all together. So from the administrative point of view.
You've been able to do that, have a balance, as well as you're very proud of your sons, so family,
yes,
the whole package in that way.
Yeah, my sons have helped me all along the journey. When I first came here, did my first play at TheaterWorks, I was pregnant, so my son was on stage with me before he was born. So, and I tease them, and they're really good about helping out and sharing me, because I do a lot. And it's really not about me, it's about the work. We do, one big production every February, Black History Month, and then we do a smaller production in the fall. We try to do that in the summer. Some years we haven't done that, but every February, I believe we've done a production for 35 years, which is pretty amazing.
No one ever looked inside. These walls are built around me. Every time I've been lost, no one's ever found me. Hide for me when all of my dreams fell through. Nobody but you.
Congratulations on that. That is really something. I know at the reception here, Shabaka Henley was one of the people here, and we have the program from his play.
Yes, Jungle Bells that he came and did.
Yes.
And we have several young ladies that were able to perform with him, to dance and sing, and really exciting for them. I saw one of them actually in church Sunday, and she was like, Shabaka was here, I missed him. But she uses that, she says, on her resume. She tells everyone.
He's doing so well now.
Right. So he's in a TV show currently and has done so many films.
He was in A Star Is Born.
A wonderful, wonderful soul. I'm glad that, we've become friends for about 20 years. We've become friends. And Bird, the bailiff from Judge Judy, was also here to support. And I called them and said, and they just came, to share the event with us. So really proud of that.
That's really wonderful. Looking also at Glenn Turman. What was that?
Oh my gosh. So you'll see that, I think that was 1989 or 88. He was in town doing I'm Not Rappaport. I think that's the name of the show. And somehow I managed to get his number from someone connection and said, we're a theater group, come do a workshop with us, and he did. We did an acting workshop intensive. You can see all the pictures, and I was able to find all of those pictures. We started with, you need more pictures from that, and I found it's like, here's a whole pile of them. So really fascinating day with him. I've run into him a few times since then, but that was the start of really us teaching. And one of our mottos is each one teach one. And so we've carried that throughout the year, that we want to share that, and each one of us share that our talent with the next person.
Yes, and you do that so well. What inspired you to stay in San Jose? Because a lot of times when people are talented, they receive accolades, then they head to LA or New York or something, especially with theater.
Probably that tech job. As I think you mentioned earlier about being the starving artist. I never wanted to be the starving artist. And so being able to do both, and once I had kids, my sons, and this sort of became home, because it took a while. I'm from the East Coast, and it took a while for me to adapt to being here. It's just the energy's so different. But once I had my sons, and this became their home, and involved in their baseball and football and basketball and everything, taekwondo, and their schools and their friends, it's become more like home. So, and I find myself so buried in the community. I mean, I'm part of every organization I think there is, which I have to slow down from that. So I really have really deep roots down here, although I still feel like Baltimore is my home. I mean, Towson's my home because most of my family is still there. So, but having that has made the difference. And working, I worked for over 30 years at Rome, IBM, Siemens, all one company. So not wanting to leave that and learning, the tech piece, and I've done a lot of product development and IT, and so really, and now I'm more on the human relations side, human resources, but that wasn't always the case. It was more tech. So that's probably what's kept me here. I do think about leaving at times just to retire somewhere else, but I like San Jose. It's definitely become home. I never wanted to just go to LA and do I've got to go pursue that. Sometimes I think I should have, but I look at those pictures and I'm like, wow, that's me, Hollywood. But raising my boys and making sure they were good people that they are was more important than pursuing that dream. And then I still have the wonderful outlet, of really doing theater, and like I said, things that I think are really, really powerful and meaningful. I always say that stir people's soul in our conversations, and I feel good about that impact. So,
yes. Do you have a favorite character? I mean, how can you choose one or two? Or
we talk about that a lot. Which was the best show, and this was incredible set, and probably that's a hard one. But the trial of one short-sighted black woman versus Mammy Louise and Safrida May, the longest title ever, is one of my favorites. And it's actually playing in San Francisco. I think African American Shakespeare is starting to do it right now. It's just so powerful because the actual set is a slave ship. And it's those stereotypes, right, of the Mammy Louise versus the provocative, sexy mulatto. So, and then that's against the black woman who's saying, you guys are bringing me down because of these stereotypes. So they have a court scene, incredible play. It's so powerful. And at the end, they call out all the names of slave ships. And so you see that, many of them, not all, but just all. And it's like, wow, when I first saw it at the Black Theater Festival, I was just stunned and in tears. It was so powerful. So we were able to do that show. Buddy Butler directed it, who's been our resident director, and also here at San Jose State, a professor. So it's probably my favorite, although Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, I think, is the ensemble's favorite. I do a lot of work on HIV/AIDS prevention in high schools. I take that we did Before It Hits Home, which is a play about HIV/AIDS and the family dynamic reacting to that. So things that have really deep meaning and are important socially and topical are things I would probably look at as someone that's really doing something along those lines.
And when you did the play on HIV/AIDS and awareness, how did the response show you that you'd really hit home in the way that you hoped?
Yeah, so, people still, it's a stigma. We had a talk back around it, and it's really getting people to open up their minds. African Americans still have the largest numbers, that of new cases. And in some areas, it's really sad that there are a lot of young teenagers that are still about, using protecting themselves. So people reacted to it very strongly in the sense they appreciate it, but they were a little, you're kind of pushing the envelope. So it was a mixture. But I think the way that we presented it, was high quality, that it's like you're going to hear this story. Sometimes you have to challenge folks,
Right.
on their beliefs. So, but when we go into the high schools, the kids loved being able to talk about sex, and really making them aware of it, because people think, oh, it's cured, you can just take pills, and it's not really the case. And of course it's costly and you don't want to live with that. So they're real receptive of it. Just having open dialogue in the schools is really
That must
good.
feel very rewarding.
Yes,
too,
yes,
you're
and I've
saving some lives.
been doing that with the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. So that's a major project I've been doing for 12 years, I think, with them every year, going into high schools.
Yes, and you've
doing
been
that.
with 100 Black Women for
About
many years.
15,
Yes.
basically since I started. So, and I have to mention for color girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is
my
enough.
favorite
Intisaki
place.
Shenge, yes.
Yes.
So that's what they were doing when I joined BTW. We've probably done it 6-7 times because early on, in the 80s it was done. It's so powerful, the whole women, so we've done it, and we did it in the 2000s, and I still get requests for us to do it again. But it's such, I've seen plays where people have tried to do similar things, and you say, oh, they're trying to imitate Color Girls, and there's no one that's written those words any better than Intisaki or, that passion.
Someone
is
almost
so
walked off with
Yeah,
me
with
and
all of my
your
stuff.
Yeah, that's just,
Yes.
you never
Yeah.
forget.
So, I have to make sure I mention that. This is one of our signature pieces.
You have so
So-
many incredible pieces, and it's wonderful to reflect on these. And when you think about leadership, because you are a leader here, you're also a legend. What did it mean to be inducted? Viera was inducted into the Black Legends of Silicon Valley Hall of Fame, and the award, the Piper-Whye Award for Art, Theater, and Music, is honoring her as well as Dr. Piper. And so you were the first class. I'm happy to say I was class of 2019 and very honored now to also be considered a legend. But when you heard that they were naming this award for you and you were being honored, what did that mean to you?
Congratulations to you
Oh,
first.
thank you very much.
And I find myself was about to tear up when you said that, and I've been on such an emotional roller coaster, and all through, even last Saturday when we had the reception here at the library, it was like, okay, I don't want to cry, I'm trying not to tear up. But it really means a lot to have that award in my name, and I was able to have most of my brothers and sisters, so I'm the youngest of 13 children growing up.
Wow.
My mom actually had 15, so I have to say the other two, yes, I'm the baby. And several have passed. There's now 7 of us that are remaining, but I think my oldest brother wasn't able to, but my brothers and sisters were here to celebrate and share that with me, so it meant a lot, them traveling across the country. And, this 35th anniversary, this exhibition, really showing all the work and bringing it all together, and that award is probably, that's my Academy Award. That's my, I can say, wow, I did it. And then that will live on, hopefully. So be a legacy for me, and really making recognition and acknowledgement of everything that I have done, and also Tabia. Of course, no one does it by themselves. I've been the artistic director since that time, and it's just incredible. We put together a picture book, actually, of all the shows we've done, and as I read through it and looked at the photos and all the people that have come to us, it brought tears to my eyes. So this coming at that time, culminating in our 30 years, means a lot. There is a group of women, mostly, that have supported me and been involved in everything I do, and they say I do way too much, and they're slowing down and telling me to slow down, but they have really had so it honors us in so many ways, and with Piper, because that is how I did get started, here in the theater with him. When I first met him, I don't know, and it's like, I'm interested in theater, and he's like, okay, come to a board meeting, and I found myself at the board meeting, and since, it's been since 1979,
Right.
September.
Amazing.
So, being one of the Black Legends actually is pretty incredible, and I want to stay involved and make sure that we honor people that are artists, that they did recognize someone in that category, so Yeah.
Yes. Well, you are doing it and doing it in an amazing way.
Oh, thank
we wish
you.
you continued success. Dare we say another 35 years?
No, well, I'll say 5. I'll shoot for 5. So, yeah. But, and hopefully, you know, what we leave where people are coming, that will continue it, you know, so. There have been some young people that I've worked with, but again, some have gone to LA and some just find it's not, and there's not a lot of money. I mean, we don't have the money to pay someone for it to really be a full-time job, right, especially this area, to be lucrative. And that's another thing about me doing it and the people I work, it's all been a labor of love. I mean, it's mostly volunteer. I mean, no one has really been able to make much money. You know, I give Arlene Sagun and Cheryl Scales have been our staff people in the office, and, you know, they get paid, but it's pennies. You know, so it's really a labor of love on their part, and then all of the ensemble members. We pay, and again, I don't want to down, I mean, we pay our actors for a play. I want to say this because people know, I think, as much, if not more, than many of the other theater companies in the area that are much more established and probably have bigger budgets, but we want to honor the talent. So we also, you know, make sure that we're paying our talent and the people involved, the tech people, for being involved. But the ones that do the outreach shows in the schools, the corporations and all of that, and Cheryl and Arlene, pretty much it's a labor of love, a volunteer, because we love it and love each other. I mean, we have our ups and downs, right. But we are family. We've grown that, and that's why we're also able to do it, because we do it for each other. So
that is wonderful. You do it for each other and you do it for us, and we thank you for what you've done.
Thank you for all you're doing and keeping it doing, going in the community, the culture, and everything you're doing. So, and I've watched you grow and be all that.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate that. I'm honored to have the privilege of being able to share, and with wonderful support crew like Walter here right now, who's taking care of all of our videography, and just so many people, so many angels along the way. But I thank you for that, because it is truly a labor of love as well to do that.
And we have Catherine here tonight, who also, you know, did all the work here in setting
Catherine,
this up.
thank you for allowing us to come in.
Thank her for that. And one of, again, we have a saying that is, we say, I believe in the beauty of myself. I believe in the power of myself. Unify us, don't divide us. Unify us, don't divide us. And we say that in a circle for each one of our performances. We gather, and it just brings us together and focus. And so I share that with you.
Yes, it's something that the whole country could really use. Right?
Yes.
Unify us, not divide us. Well, if you would like to enjoy the exhibit, please come to the Dr. Martin Luther King Library throughout the month of February. And for more information about everything going on with Tabia, details are on our screen. And that's our show.
Thank you.
Time has flown by. I'm so
Yeah,
glad we had a chance to sit together. I know, it's great. Well, that's our show. I'm Janice Edwards. Thanks for all that you do to make our world a better place. Please join us again next time, and we look forward to seeing you then.